Hey, Gamer Nation, it is me, your host, Waddles. Welcome back. This is one of those videos where there's minigame footage in the background, and I'm talking about something random, not so random. In today's video, we're going to talk all about that fancy new Nether update. The exact theme, or the exact goal, the exact topic is for me to share some thoughts and talk about some of my theories about this Nether update. We'll be going over some of the features that we know about so far, I'll break them down for you, then talk about what it could mean and what I think could be tied to each feature. I've done my best to sort of divide each topic up into its own segment, but things are going to get really jumbled together, and I've gotta apologize for that. If you want to see more videos like this from me, drop a like and subscribe, and I am proud to announce that Gamer Nation, there will be a brand new merch shirt launching soon. You heard it here first. So, let's start with a summary of this Nether update, then we'll move into what we know, then we'll move into the theories, what I think, basically the really cool part. So, at Minecon this year, the Minecraft Java Edition 1.16 Nether update was announced. This will be the next major game update for both versions. Again, it'll be Java 1.16. Java Edition 1.15 will be the bee and bug fixing update. This bee and bug fixing update will be out by the holidays this year, and the Nether update will come in the next year, so unfortunately, all the way in 2020. This update will be changing pretty much everything about the Nether, which is absolutely crazy. This Nether update sounds like it's going to be amazing because it'll be adding new items, new blocks, new mobs, new plants, new biomes, pretty much everything is changing in the Nether. This is the first time a singular dimension is receiving a pretty much entire overhaul. After this update, it will be possible to pretty much entirely live in the Nether. This is probably going to be the biggest update to Minecraft ever. Now, with that update introduction and brief summary out of the way, let's talk about the features that we know about. So first off, there's a target block. This target block is a redstone block. Next, we have a couple new Nether biomes. There is the creepily dark SOULSAND Valley biome, a red Nether forest biome, and a blue Nether forest biome. The red biome has lots of life and is very red. The blue biome has less life and is very blue. There were pigmen wandering around the blue biome. At Minecon, two brand new mobs were also revealed. The first mob is the Piglin Beast. The Piglin Beast is a pig-looking creature combined with a warthog. It makes grunting noises, is aggressive, and is a food source. The other mob is known as the Piglin. The Piglin looks kind of like a zombie pigman, but isn't a zombie pigman. Zombie pigmen are still a thing. These piglins are very aggressive. They don't like the Piglin Beast, and they do not like wither skeletons and will attack on sight. The piglins don't seem to mind the player unless the player starts messing with the chests that are near the piglins. If the player starts opening chests near piglins, they will get angry and attack the player. Finally, piglins like gold and will barter with the player. This bartering is a form of trading, but not civilized like the villagers. It'll sort of be like, to kind of semi-quote Agnes, you throw something at them and they'll throw something like over there. So in short, that's basically what we know about the Nether update so far. I'm sure there's a little bit more, but that's the brief summary of the actual, I guess, facts. Remember, everything could change though. Now, the fun part. My theories. Now keep in mind that these theories are really just my imagination. They aren't necessarily based off of reality, these are more so things that I'd love to see happen. We'll start with the least nethery Nether update thing. That thing? The target block. The target block is definitely going to be a redstone block. The redstone behind this is actually pretty straightforward. If an arrow hits near the center of the target block, there will be a strong redstone signal that is outputted. If an arrow hits near the edge of the block, that redstone signal will be weaker. Off the top of my head, I can imagine this block being useful for a few things. Maybe this target block could be used for some sort of combination lock door, kind of like the item frame redstone doors. The target block could, of course, be used for target minigames, where the player needs to hit as close to the center as possible. And last but not least, I imagine the target block being useful for some sort of randomizer. Place a target block down and then place a dispenser in front of it and fill that dispenser with arrows. Power the dispenser and the dispenser will shoot an arrow. Dispensers don't shoot arrows perfectly, so the arrow should land somewhere different each time. Honestly, there's nothing that I can really theorize about a target block without completely making things up, so there's that. That's what I think it could be used for, but I don't know. Maybe the target block walks. Okay, I made that up. Okay, so let's now move on to actual Nether features. We'll start with, I think, the SOULSAND Valley. The SOULSAND Valley sounds really cool, and it looks absolutely evil. As you can see from the pictures here, there's blue fire, there's fog, there's, I think, stalactites or stalagmites, you know, the rock pillar things, and I think we'll start there. So, I imagine these rock pillar things being really good building blocks because the texture on these things is just so clean. It looks like it would mix really well with blocks like stone. Now, I think it could be kind of neat to see these pillars actually holding up little bits, I guess, of the soul sand or maybe something else, and if the player decides to remove these blocks with, say, a pickaxe, then a little bit of the ceiling would cave in. Not all of it, but just a small amount. Now, let's move on to that amazing looking blue fire. I'd like to see some sort of cool soul stealing mechanic with the blue fire. Fire is not normally blue. We'll start there. The blue fire should definitely have some kind of unnatural property. Considering that it exists on top of soul sand, maybe this blue fire has a health draining effect. The fire sort of steals the soul from the player. What this means is that when the player is within, say, like 5 blocks of the thing, the health would slowly drain, sort of like the wither effect. Now, the player would have to decide whether they should approach the fire and remove it, or just stay away altogether. It could be a little tricky to remove the fire because players move a little bit slower on soul sand. Now, I think this fire should tie into a mob as well. The SOULSAND Valley should be like an end-game biome. I think some of these new nether biomes should be really hard to traverse without some end-game items. I imagine inside of the SOULSAND Valley there's something called maybe the SOULSEEKER for the purpose of this video. The SOULSEEKER is blind in the light, so this SOULSAND fire is kind of keeping the SOULSEEKERs at bay. If there is no SOULSAND fire, however, then the area gets even darker. In the darkness, the SOULSEEKER can actually see things and would be insanely violent. Like, the SOULSEEKER would see the player in the darkness, go over and try to, we'll say, remove the player from, I guess, this dimension. This would add an interesting kind of decision mechanic to this SOULSAND Valley. Does the player remove the SOULSAND fire, or does the player kind of tough it out and just deal with the fire so these SOULSEEKERs don't hurt the player? There should be some pretty good loot in the SOULSAND Valley if there is a really difficult mob like the SOULSEEKER implemented. Okay, so with the SOULSAND Valley out of the way, let's move on to the other biome or biomes that we know about, the red and blue netherwart forest. Both of these biomes have structures that sort of look like giant trees inside of these biomes. In the red biome, the leaves of these tree-like things appear to be netherwart blocks. This makes me think that netherwart blocks will finally actually be a useful thing in survival, which is really cool to see. I mean, honestly, how often have you actually made a giant netherwart farm to use netherwart blocks? Like, the blocks are cool, but they're just so hard to get large amounts of. And so it looks like we're going to finally be able to get large amounts of those blocks relatively easily. It wouldn't surprise me if these blocks behave similar to how the giant red mushroom and blue mushroom blocks behave. Maybe the player harvests these with shears and some netherwarts will be dropped. Sliding over to the blue forest, I have no clue. These blue blocks on the trees are so different. I'm thinking this has to be some sort of brand new plant or thing introduced into Minecraft in this update because it is so different looking. Now, if these are really trees, then that could be pretty huge because alongside a tree comes like 16 block variants. Logs, stripped wood, planks, trapdoors, pressure plates, doors. There's just a lot that comes with wood. What I can almost guarantee for 100% sure, though, is the fact that this stuff will not be flammable. I mean, it kind of really doesn't make sense to put a flammable thing inside of the nether, right? Like, it's probably not just, it's not going to work out very well. It's a dimension, a world of fire. In this image of the red forest, you can see lava right next to one of these tree-like structures, and there's no fire in the picture, it's not burning, and in the video, nothing was burning either. So maybe we get some brand new non-flammable trees, or at the least these will be similar to the giant red and giant brown mushrooms. Speaking of mushrooms, it looks like we are going to be getting 2 brand new mushroom types, which is really cool. The blue and orange one looks absolutely awesome. It looks like there's a brand new red grass plant as well on the ground in these biomes, which is really interesting as well. Hopefully these mushrooms can be crafted into some sort of nether stew. That would be really cool. And the grass looks amazing for decorating. Imagine grabbing some of this stuff with some shears and then moving it over into some kind of custom biome that you're making in maybe the overworld that's meant to just look evil and corrupted and strange. Looking down even farther, now literally at the ground of these biomes, in the red variant, it looks like there's some sort of soul sand block with like red grass on top of it. And then in the blue variant, there's like netherrack with blue grass. Can't wait to see how this stuff actually grows and behaves and spreads, if it does. Or maybe we'll find out it's kind of like podzol and it doesn't really spread. Based off of everything that we can see here, these biomes look absolutely amazing. Oh, and the really big one, I almost forgot. In some of these trees, there's something that looks like glowstone, but it's definitely not glowstone. There's glowstone in the background of some of their teaser videos, and glowstone is pretty tied into the game. There are other features in the game that rely on it, so I don't think glowstone will be changed. With that all being said, I kind of guess that these things hanging in the trees, the yellow cubes, are maybe some sort of new fruit. This would make sense, as Agnes stated, that the nether is actually going to be livable. There will be food in the nether. Right after that, she started talking about the piglin beast and that being a food source, but maybe these are some sort of fruit-like food source as well. That would certainly add another layer of depth to the nether. So basically what you should take from all of that is the NETHERWART forests, the red and blue variants, are going to be amazing. They look really, really cool, and I can't wait to see what the dev team has in store for them. Big fingers crossed that we get some sort of maybe like NETHERWART cow or just nether variant of something peaceful that lives in these forest biomes. Now let's move on to the other biomes, because we know there are going to be more. The nether is a whole dimension after all, and does it make sense to be 3 biomes? No. Also, right at the beginning of their kind of showcase, they said that these were some of the biomes, not all. There's obviously no way of knowing what biomes they have in store if they haven't said it, so these biomes will be a lot more just kind of imaginative. Basically what I'd like to see. First, I'd love to see some sort of crystal biome. Now, we don't necessarily need a new crystal. We could use glowstone in this biome. I imagine this biome having large spikes of glowstone, like spikes, literally spikes coming out of the ground and the ceiling. These spikes would, of course, be harvestable. To add a little bit of depth to the nether, I'd like to see pigmen or the new piglin mobs actually protect the glowstone. If the player is caught harvesting glowstone by either a piglin or a pigman, whichever they choose, then those creatures would aggro. Next up, I'd like to see a low nether biome where magma cubes actually spawn, like in large quantities. This biome would be down near the lava ocean, and maybe there's like magma block islands and things like that. That would be really, really cool to see. The contrast, at the top of the nether, I'd love to see a nether ceiling biome. This wouldn't be literally above the bedrock, it would be right below it. This biome, I imagine, would be a cave-like biome with lots and lots of ores, maybe new ones, or quartz. We definitely need a better way to harvest up quartz in the nether. It's so random everywhere and kind of hard to get in large quantities. If there is a cave-like biome implemented, I would really hope that there would be some sort of nether cave mob as well. The next biome I'd love to see is some sort of nether plains biome. This nether plains biome would be really honestly comparable to what we have in the nether now. I'd like to see another plains biome because we definitely need a good flat place that's open to build in if we are meant to survive in the nether. Of course, players can work with the land inside of the nether, but if there's literally like a big field somewhere, then it would be a lot easier to build some sort of town or large-scale build, base, something like that. I love the idea of kind of clearings from time to time, kind of like what we have in the overworld with plains and sometimes mountains, you know, when they're like really flat. Yeah, And I think last but not least for today's video at least, is some sort of improved nether fortress or even a nether fortress biome. Now this would be the first time that Minecraft does a biome like this, but let's say a nether fortress spawns. Wherever it spawned, that would be turned into a nether fortress biome. Inside of this biome, wither skeletons and blaze and things like that would actually be spawning in higher frequency. Now this biome would extend a little past the nether fortress, maybe like, I don't know, 20 blocks out from the pathways. I have no clue. Hopefully, these brand new nether fortresses would get a pretty much near entire overhaul. Over the years, they've grown pretty predictable and repetitive and boring at this point. I'd love to see new traps and room types introduced into these things, kind of like a woodland mansion, but I'm thinking even cooler. So in short, I'm really hoping for a lot of brand new biomes in the Nether, and I'm sure that's something that we could maybe kind of expect. But let's go ahead and move on to the mobs now. The new Nether mobs are looking very interesting so far. So first things first, the Piglin Beast. The Piglin Beast was already stated to be a food source in the Nether. I am hoping that this food source is even better than steak. This would give players kind of a reason to go to the Nether and find piglins. It would be really neat if there were some way to farm these piglins, but it definitely shouldn't be like an easy way. Piglins are, after all, aggressive, wild mobs and shouldn't be really easy to control. But if we're looking for a food better than steak, and it's coming from this creature, maybe steak would have to be nerfed a little bit, and I don't think players would like that, but it just might be necessary, or even maybe there's just some kind of extra buff that you get from eating this piglin meat, we'll call it. Other than that, it could be kind of neat to see piglins rideable, but maybe not really controllable. I'm thinking something kind of like the pig in the overworld. How would you actually mount this aggressive thing? Well, it'd be a struggle. You'd probably need a saddle and then something to calm, maybe a potion or something, but something to calm the piglin. Now after that, you could ride this piglin to your heart's desire, into battle, into a lava lake, into whatever you're trying to do. Now let's move on to the piglins. The piglins are going to be a brand new, basically, civilization in the Nether, in Jen's words. I believe it was stated somewhere that these piglins will be living in things called bastions, which are like villages or towns. I cannot wait to see what Mojang has in store for these things, because I mean, the village revamps, those were pretty impressive in my opinion, at least for what they put in the game, so no offense, Mojang, I love your builds, but yeah, I can't wait to see what these have in store. I hope there's some pretty good loot inside of these things, so players can kind of like sneak into there and kind of go spy mode and steal things from chests, so the piglins don't notice, because if piglins see players opening chests, then they aggro. To me, this mechanic hints at something good being in those chests, so I don't know. I'm really hoping for that. I am hoping for a brand new tool and armor set introduced alongside the piglins as well, at least one. This tool set could be called like piglin tools or piglin armor, or maybe there's some kind of ore that's in the Nether. We'll talk about it in a minute, but yeah, some kind of new ore that you have to trade with the piglins to actually get. Maybe once you get like a pickaxe from these piglins, you can use that pickaxe to mine up the other ore that spawns around the Nether. So you actually have to find the piglins first and figure out how to trade with them, meaning get gold and give them it, and then you get these fancy tools. This would introduce the first brand new tool set and armor maybe set type in like years and years, which I think is kind of necessary. Are these tools better than diamond? I don't know. I guess that's up to your imagination, but honestly, I'd love to see tools that are better than diamond tools. Maybe their mining speed is slightly faster than the default diamond mining speed, and then to kind of balance things, perhaps efficiency can't go all the way up, like to efficiency 5 on these tools. Maybe it's capped at like efficiency 3, because after that point, things would be like faster than insta-mining? I don't know. Some kind of new tool type would be really cool, and I think it could be tied into the piglins really well. I hope the piglins have a mob mentality like the pigmen. That could be really cool to see as well. Honestly, I could make a whole video on piglins alone, and this video is getting long at this point, so I'm gonna kind of cut things short here and not go into all of my things. If you'd like to see individual in-depth videos, let me know in the comments. Like, drop a like, and if you see other people asking for like a piglin video, leave a like on their comment, and I can definitely do that for you. So there's been a lot in this video. There is a lot of features in the Nether, but let's wrap some things up with some other random thoughts and wishes, things that I'm hoping for. We'll start with a new tool set like I was just talking about. I am really hoping that Mojang decides to implement some sort of new ore type into the Nether. Minecraft needs more. After so long, it almost seems like Mojang doesn't like the idea of adding new ores, and I'd like them to kind of maybe be open to that concept and show us that they're open to it by adding more. Again, I love the idea of having these ores only mineable by whatever kind of ore they are. So you have to go find the tool somewhere in the world and get it to go actually get more of this stuff. That would definitely make this ore very exclusive, valuable, and definitely more of an end game thing. I think Minecraft needs more end game content. Going back to the Netherworld forest stuff, I'd love to see some kind of dried out, evil, charred wood block. I really, really love that idea, like a black, dark wood. That could be really cool for building. And my final other idea here is to completely remove the nether ceiling. That's right, like no more bedrock ceiling, unfortunately. Now, yes, this would break lots of farms and that could be sad, but on the other sides of things, that would remove a pretty big exploit from the game, and Mojang isn't really a fan of these exploits. To kind of balance things, players would still be able to go way high up into the nether sky and build a platform for a gold farm, so that would still be doable. It would just be a lot more difficult. I would say GHASTS would kind of be capped within their AI to not fly too high up into the air. Also, I would say GHASTS would have to not be able to be spawned really, really high up in the nether either. But I think that just about does it for some. This is really seriously only some of my thoughts on the Nether update. If you guys would like to see more of my thoughts, leave a like on this video and let me know, because I definitely... I would love to share more thoughts. I have like a bunch of random ideas and things like that. Maybe this calls for like a special guide episode. Overall, I think this Nether update is very, very promising, and this update as a whole gives off the vibe, the feeling, the idea that Mojang is more than willing to improve dimensions as a whole, and maybe even one day add more dimensions to Minecraft. This Nether update looks like it's going to be absolutely amazing. But that's just about it from me, your guy, Waddles Today. Today, I'd like to send a special thank you to my wonderful patron, Sarah R. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to get on this video dedication stuff, slide down to the description and check out my Patreon. Thank you all for watching. Brand new merch launching soon. Keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll talk about it on Twitter. I'll talk about it in videos, and you'll know. And go have a good day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.